This is a 1992 Ford Escort Cosworth. And it is not without its problems. It's coming to stock, and I mean, behold its glory. The childhood poster car, a thing only dreams are made of. However, a few issues. First of all, mental money. It's a Ford Escort. Now, I like rally. I've got an Impreza sat at the top there. It's my sort of bag. And this has just come into stock, and we need to work out what we're doing with it because it has got several issues. Some might be expensive, some not so expensive. So do we sell it as it is? Do we make it minty mint? Or do we boot it into auction and let the gods decide what it's worth? So the problem with old classics or modern classics like this is you either get really nice ones or really, really crap ones, and there's rarely a bit in the middle. Just put my fingerprints on the glass. However, this appears to be a bit of a in-the-middle car, which has got me in the middle with my mindset on it. But let's just talk about the bad stuff, because I know you like that. And let's talk about all the issues that this car has got. Starting off from the front. So one of my most favourite terms working as a car dealer is if you squint, it's mint. Very much the case with this car. However, it is actually quite nice. The front bumper has got some issues. So let's just start off with the front of it. And I know this sounds ridiculous, a car dealer discrediting his stock. However, I think with something like this, you've got to be on the button with it. You can't bull something like this. So, couple of issues. This is slightly discoloured at the front, nothing major. And it has got a little bit of a stone chip in here as well, or I'd say a bit more than a stone chip. The front splitter has seen some contact with, I'm suspecting, curbs. There's a little bit of sort of crack marks just across the top of the bumper there as well. So it's safe to say that immediately we know we're not looking at a mint concourse example. But then, how do you price it? Other than that, that's okay. Wheels, car's been stood a while, so I'll tell you a story about this car as well, but the wheels are just starting to show a little bit of sign of age. So this, I mean, this is a curb mark. Oh, no, it isn't really, is it? It's just like flaking paint. Calipers, they need painting. But then this is the problem is, do people prefer something original and looking like it's seen a bit of it? Patina, I believe is a term that we use in the classic car market. Patina. So I don't know what to do with that. Front bumper, unfortunately, is sitting a little bit low there. We've had a little bit of a play with it. But I think it needs to come up just a tad. That could just be me. I don't know if I'm being picky or not. I'm working down the side of the car, it's actually quite nice. There are a couple of little things that are bugging me, like the window seal has just dropped a little bit on there. Now with this being a Lux model, the rear windows do pop open and closed, so we can sort that fairly easily. Other than that, it's quite nice down the side. I mean, just look at that side profile. It's just... Alex, who's filming, is about 12 years old and he doesn't understand this, but this is erotic. Now, if you didn't know, with the Escort, they're actually meant to have 3 spoilers, not 2, so this being 1 and 2. They're meant to have a 3rd spoiler, one in the middle as well. And the guy that designed it, Frank Stevenson, was hell-bent on having 3 spoilers on this car. However, because of the penny pinchers, when they're building the car, they wouldn't allow it. So he was mortified. In fact, actually, I think Wheeler Dealers did something where they made one with 3 spoilers. Another car that Frank Stevenson has designed is this, the Mini. He's done a few, actually. He's done the Mini, he's done the MC12, Maserati, he's been involved in the P1, all sorts of stuff. So the guy's designed loads of interesting stuff. That Mini, by the way, £1 a ticket. Raffle is still live at the moment. If you've not bought a ticket, it ends very soon. It is quite a rare thing actually now, so it's supercharged, it is low mileage, low owners, it's absolutely the one to have, and it's got a really, really strong service history. And the reason we're doing the raffle is to try and support one of our subscribers called Keith, who sadly has been diagnosed with terminal prostate cancer, as a result of which he's trying to spread the word. Get yourselves tested, and what we want to do is get him and his lovely lady away as a thank you for that. Just as a reminder, if you're of a certain age, get yourself tested for prostate cancer. We're hoping we might be able to save a life with this mini draw. Now, working our way down the passenger side of the car, still pretty nice. It's nice, and then it's not so nice. Again, wheels. Now these tyres are 2015 as well, so they are 10 years old now, albeit there are no cracks to the sidewalls or anything. They don't actually look like an old tyre. They're proper tyres as well, so the proxies. Oh, there's a bit of cracking just between the tread there. So again, that's the sort of thing that if you're making it concourse-y and minty, you need to do it, don't you? So that's a set of tyres we need to think about. Caliper refurb, get the bumper right, potentially respray the bumper. I think it's had paint before that bumper anyway. There is unfortunately a little bit of rust on it as well, but it is minor. Just a little bit around the fuel cap there, a little bit there, and also, unfortunately, just on the tailgate coming through there. Now, that cosmetically is as bad as it gets, Ford badge. They bloody all do this. They do this on the new Fiestas. Typical Fords. Other than that, condition-wise, is actually okay. I can't help but just be a little bit in awe of it, just because of that, more than anything. So I had the opportunity to buy one of these when I bought my Impreza, and I foolishly bought my Impreza instead, because these are now crazy money. My Impreza isn't. It's then I knew I was going to be a car dealer. When I made my first buying mistake at the age of 24. Things that are mechanically not so great with it as well, there are a few. So we'll start off under the bonnet. So, good news and bad news under here. Good news, standard, which actually with an Escort Cosworth is really good news. It has not been mucked about with at all. Obviously the battery isn't original, but it would appear that everything else looks fairly original. It's not got big stupid turbo on it. It's not got big stupid manifold on it. It's just nice, you know, just like the hoses are bright, everything's just right. However, I did allude to the fact that there are a couple of problems under here. And first of all, that coolant looks like it's not been changed in a long time. The oil and filter was done recently, but it certainly needs a coolant flush on it. And unfortunately, Tim went underneath it when we were adjusting this bumper up, and the under tray is a little bit wet. And we believe it to be a little bit wet with oil. I suspect coming from the sump. But again, it's not a major problem, but it's just, you see how these little bits are just starting to add up, and I kind of just don't know what to do. Other than that, under the bonnet, pretty tidy, isn't it? Oh, it's got some weight to that, to be fair. So these weighed 1,300 and something kilos, but the non-Lux was actually slightly lighter. But in the Lux, you get a lot more things. So first of all, heated windscreen, sunroof, these rear quarter glass, they pop out. You also get a leather interior, as you can see in here, and other bits as well. I can't remember what they are now. Electric mirrors, electric windows, etc., etc. So Lux is kind of the one to have, and with it being an earlier model as well, it's the big turbo, which is kind of the one to have. When I say electric windows, you'll notice that this one is down and that one is up. And that's because it doesn't work. It's just typical old Ford stuff, isn't it? Speaking of things that don't work, the clock doesn't work, the radio doesn't work, the button for the boot doesn't work, and the washer jets don't work. Speaking of washer jets, actually, with it being a Lux, nice, these are heated. Did you know that, Alex? 30 years, yeah, they are heated. Apparently, that's what ChatGPT told me. So condition on the inside is pretty good as well. It's had a bit of a strong valet when it first came in, but it's just, when you get in one of these, it just smells like 90s crime, if that makes sense. Oh God, I absolutely adore it. I love this. Does it work? We've not tried it yet. Does it only pop us? It's like, does it? Oh, it might be the other way. It's like, oh. It's so cool. I just cannot wrap my head around how much money these things are now. There's, unfortunately as well, it looks like there's probably been an immobiliser, I'm guessing, of some form there. Maybe something you'd assume alarm related in the Cosworth, because these were so nickable. My dad, and this is why I'm a petrol head, when we were younger, had a Sierra Cosworth. He was an insurance broker, and he went to Skipton Ford, unbeknownst to his superiors at work, and went and got a Cosworth and then brought it back to stick it on the company fleet policy. And their heads melted when he got back. Apparently he used to go over Belden Moor at, some would argue, slightly over the speed limit, and he used to comment on the fact that it was a comfortable ride because none of his boys woke up in the back. Dad's a bit of a legend. Now, unfortunately, that's not where the bad news ends on this car. When I say bad news, yeah, more bad news. So, this car has done 46,000 miles, which is incredibly low mileage for one of these, or it would be if you believed it. Unfortunately, the clocks have been changed. The only way you know the clocks have been changed is because it's been documented. So they were changed sort of in the early days of MOTs. So when you do a HPI check on this car, it shows that it's done 46,000 miles. You check anywhere on this car and it'll show the mileage is correct. However, the previous owner, when they swapped the clocks over, kept the original clock, so you can see the additional mileage that's on top of that mileage, and all of the paperwork to back it up as well. So it's actually done 70,000 miles. It's not that bad, is it, to be fair? Still low mileage. What are we thinking? Every part of my inner child wants to get this absolutely minty mint and park it next to my Impreza and never ever sell it because they are creeping in value. But then I just don't know whether or not they've got a load more legs on them value-wise, but they're becoming so difficult to find. And if we want to talk about the positive stuff, there are quite a few positives with this car. First of all, as I've already alluded to, it is a Luxe, which is the one that you want. It is a big turbo, which is one of the earlier models, which is also the one that you want. The number of owners on this car, usually you are into double figures at this stage, 3. And the story behind that is the chap that bought it from new was a property developer. And essentially he lived with his partner and buying properties over a 3-decade period until they got to a point where they had like £1 million house. Unfortunately, his partner died and her son decided that because they weren't married and because there wasn't a will, that was his house, which is quite a sad story. So unfortunately, he ended up with basically nothing besides his Escort Cosworth, and he ended up selling it to the chap that we've got the car from as a way of just living, which is really sad. And also, to make matters worse, he died 4 months after he sold the car. So it's a bit of a sad story, but it is actually really good news from an owner's point of view. 3 owners. Now, another thing as well is this is a Grant Thornton car. And if you don't know what a Grant Thornton car, that is because you are ill-educated, as I was until about a week ago. Grant Thornton basically means the early ones of these were homologated for rallies. And this was one of those early cars. And as a result of which, under the rear bench, so your rear seats, there's the original water injection, which never worked, but they needed for the rally cars. So this has got proper pedigree. You see why I'm torn? There's so much going for it. So much going for it. And then you've got these little niggly bits, which you could be into. I think we're going to put this right. 3 grand? 4 grand maybe? Something like that. Now, underneath of it, which you can't see in this video, is genuinely minty mint. And we can have a quick look on that on the previous MOTs. So we have run a free check on this car on Vehicle Score. And when you look through the previous MOTs, it does show that there have been some gaps on the MOTs. This is a new thing they've brought in to show you whether or not it has been MOT'd every time on time like it should have been done. And this is something that was brought in by one of my subscribers who pointed it out to me and said, that's probably a bit of a weak spot there because if a car's missed an MOT, there's an argument, it might have had a mileage correction or whatever. So the owner of Vehicle Score has put it in for you. So thank you for that, mate. Now, when you look through the tests, it doesn't show the mileage situation because it was pre-digital MOT, so got to give them the credit on that one. It is literally, so drive shaft, suspension arm, windscreen wiper, battery, top mounts, suspension arm. So all it has had has been fails and advisories to do with consumable bits. And usually on something like this, you see corrosion. Underneath of it is bloody lovely. And I have had my head under there. It's nice. I'm really torn about this. I think the obvious thing to do, seeing as we have the keys and we have some beautiful open country roads and a bit of good weather for the first time in forever, is we have a little bit of a nostalgic moment. Get over the tops.
Oh yes, the 90s and noughties. Now for me, I was a bit of a garage and drum and bass sort of bloke. Considered myself a bit of an MC, you know. However, mixed in with a bit of trance, happy hard house, and the 90s car scene truly felt alive. Escort Cosworth, well tell high, turbo spool, she says, oh my. 4-wheel drive and the boost kicks in. Old school boy with a big fat grin. Cruise to the town, super slow. Lines of Novas, baseline low. Back is car park, engine ticking. Bonnet up torque while the subs are kicking. Late night smoking, streets are still. Handbrake turns, you know the drill. Rave round the corner, bass in the air. Coolest thing is the Cosy out there. Boost comes in and the wheels spin. Feel that shove when the revs climb in. No screens, no modes, just me and machine. This is what the 90s mean. Come on! I do apologise, I don't know what came over me there. Isn't there something cool about an old 90s car? They smell good, they look good, they sound good. Proper driving machine. Let's get out and see what it's like on some of these nice country roads.
Talk about a rubbish day in the office. The weather's actually good. It was meant to be rubbish all day and it's actually turned out quite nice, which is a problem in the UK. But anyway, we'll go into that in a second. The first thing I've got to say when you sat in one of these is the feeling of a nostalgia just flows. And I love little things like, for example, when you're doing the heaters, you can hear the mechanical closure. I like the fact that when you're doing the electric mirror, it's noisy. I like the fact that when you rev it, you can see the boost gauge move up and down in the centre of the dashboard. This is all stuff that, if you think about it, back in 1992 was pretty far-fetched. Now, I've had some fun in this already. What we're going to do is go on a bit of a road test. A bit of a shakedown for the old girl. And there's a couple of things that jump off the page with this car. First of all, you are fully aware you're in a 30-year-old Escort, and not in a good way. It rattles, it creaks, the gearbox is vague, like stirring porridge. However, the fact you can see a Cosworth badge on the dashboard and the huge whale tail out the rear view mirror, it just fills you with arousal. I absolutely love it, and you can see as well why people back in the 90s and probably early noughties ruined them. Because I pulled into a car park earlier on just to do that shot for you, just to do a bit of an introduction, and every part of me in that gravel car park wanted to rag that handbrake up and do a massive handbrake turn. You can see why these things got ruined. Now, these cars, when they first came out, it was basically because they wanted to make a rally car, so they had to make a road car so they could make a rally car. We all understand how the homologation process works, but back in the day, these were sort of 200 and a bit horsepower or whatever, and they were absolutely rapid. Everybody wanted one, and everybody wanted to nick one. Now, things have moved on a lot in the last 30 years, and unfortunately, when you put your foot down in it, it hardly really gets you that excited. And I know that sounds really cruel to say, but it just doesn't. So when you're looking at it just on the face of it and you're going, right, I'm just going to hammer this Escort through the gears, it's all right. It's quick. It's not mind-bendingly quick, but if you're thinking back into the 90s, it was very, very, very quick. Now, the things that jump off the page for me is how bloody tiny it is. You don't realise when you walk around it in the showroom, you're like, oh, it's a pretty small looking car. And we had it parked next to a 5 Series at the weekend, and you go, wow, that is a small looking car, considering this was a saloon of the day, and the 5 Series is the saloon of today. However, it's just nimble, tight. I'm going on a country road here and I don't have to, yeah, you liked it, didn't you? You liked it. That's the other thing I haven't mentioned yet. Everybody looks at it. Absolutely everybody. And I think the benefit of an Escort Cosworth now is, for a while, there were a lot of replicas about. So people would buy an old LX or whatever and put a wide body kit on it, a whale tail, and they lost that sort of classiness because so many people either A, ruined them, or B, copied them. But now they're starting to get into the market where they're very expensive and collectible, and you don't see these rot boxes around anymore that are replicas. People know what they're looking at when you drive past them. Now, I think the big problem with these cars is the price of them, and unfortunately what's happened with a lot of 90s cars and 80s cars is the guys that wanted them when they were younger, who couldn't afford them, now can afford them, and they're all fighting for what is left, and as a result of which the prices have skyrocketed. For me, for example, I would love one of these, but the sort of money they're commanding, I just can't justify anymore. And you question whether or not that means it's at a ceiling. I don't think it is. I think they've got more headroom in them. I think that people value the fact that they can buy a bit of history, and it's hard to find something now that hasn't been mucked about with, which is the one thing that is a massive, massive credit on this car. It's just an original Escort Cosworth, isn't it? I've been smiling from ear to ear from the moment I turned the key on this car. The clutch feels good, to be fair. It feels so light on the steering. You know you can just chuck it into a bend and go around it, and I just think that cars nowadays, we've lost that. I'm currently driving an M5 Touring. It's a 2025 car. That thing's like 2.5 tons. I say I'm driving it, I've been lent it by a mate. I wish I could afford something like that. But you drive it around, you think, this is incredible, the technology is fantastic, and yes, I feel like I'm in a very capable machine, but I'm genuinely having more fun in this. A car that has got 1/3 of the horsepower, a car that is around about half of the weight, and a car that is unfortunately now about half the price. It's a bit crazy, isn't it? I guess the question I've got now as a business is what we do with this, because the option is we go through it tooth and nail, make it absolutely right, and make it command the most amount of money it possibly could do, or we sell it for a cheaper price with the jobs that need doing, probably sell it faster, and there's probably an enthusiast out there that would prefer to do those jobs himself or herself. So it's a bit of a fine tightrope to walk, isn't it? It is so encouraging and engaging to drive, and I think there's an argument actually for these older cars. Although they squeak and rattle and they shake your fillings out, you can have absolutely 10/10 of this car. You could hammer it on a country road and enjoy every ounce that it's got left in that engine. Now, Unfortunately, with a lot of newer cars, because they're more powerful, you actually struggle on the UK roads. I mean, who wants to drive, you know, one of the new Lotuses, for example, on a road like this? Or who would want to drive a Ferrari 360 on a road like this? Because they're just bouncy, choppy and hard work. Well, there might well be a solution for that, because we've been sponsored today by a company called Atano. Now, you're going to like this, because this isn't just a YouTube sponsor. This is a company that operates driving tours abroad. So the issue they get in the UK is the weather. Fortunately today is sunny, and apologies if the sun's in your eyes there, but it rarely is. But what they do is they operate tours for proper and car enthusiasts and petrol heads across France, Spain, across basically Europe, and it's over sort of 7 or 8 days, and the cost of these tours are normally absolutely eye-watering. So if you look at things like Gumball 3000, etc., it's basically just filled with people who do very well for themselves, wanting to show each other how well for themselves they do. Well, this company charges £5,000 for the tour, which might sound like a lot of money, but when you think about it, you are staying away in a hotel, often which is 5-star hotels, your food's included, your accommodation's included, and it tends to be limited to around about 20 cars per tour. So it's personal, it's engaging, and it's run by a couple of guys down in London who are proper petrol heads and have toured for many years. So there is going to be a link for them in the description below. I think it's a fantastic company, and genuinely I'm thinking about booking this year myself. For £5,000, I mean, you couldn't go skiing for £5,000, let alone experience some of the most fantastic roads in Europe with a load of petrol heads that are all speaking the same language. So a massive thank you to today's sponsor. If you want to book on the link below, you will get a discount of £250 by using this promo code below. Genuinely a fantastic idea, and I really wish them all the very best, and I hope to join them on a tour very soon. Anyway, back to the Escort. I am going to take great pleasure in this car because there's a quarter of a tank of rather nice fresh fuel in it, and I'm going to enjoy what is left of the day because we appear to still have sunshine, which is quite rare, and we've got a quiet day in the office, so I'm going to make the most out of driving what has been an absolute boyhood dream for me to drive, and I'm going to try and work out what is going to be the best solution and strategy for this car. So once again, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've appreciated and enjoyed the content, and I'd really like to know what you suggest I should do, because a little part of me is thinking you could even just bubble wrap this car as it is as an investment and leave it for years to come, and I suspect it will pay dividends. But until next time, thanks for joining me. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
This is the place where you feel the bass. Do the freestyle.
No.
Hey?
Come on now.
It's good, isn't it?
You will get slated in the comments for this.
Might get signed, Tim. Shan't hold my breath. Tatty!